ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਰੇਡੀਓ USA, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਟੀਵੀ USA ਸੁਣ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਰੈਜ਼ਨੋ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 21 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਰਿਪਬਲਿਕਨ ਪਾਰਟੀ GOP ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਮਾਈਕਲ ਮੇਹਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਜੁੜੇ ਆ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮਾਈਕਲ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
Sat Sri Akal.
How are you?
Doing very well. Very well. Thank you for having me here.
How's the campaign going?
Campaign is going excellent. I fully expect a change in the congressional district with my election in November.
Mm-hmm. Who are you running against?
I'm running against a gentleman by the name of Jim Costa, who's been in politics, and most everyone here in the Valley knows his name because he's been in politics and originally went to work in Washington, D.C. when President Joe Biden was first elected, in his first elected term. So he's been in politics for a very long time.
Same as Joe Biden, almost.
Almost as long as Joe Biden.
So, what are the things you say to your constituents? What change? What different? How different are you going to be from him?
Well, I look at a lot of our politicians on both sides, the Republican and the Democrat, that have been in politics from when they graduated college. And they've never had a job that has been working with the actual people that make our economy. They've never ran businesses where they had to sign the front of a paycheck and deal with all of the regulations and the taxes and the fees that they put on the business owners like myself. And so for a person like Jim Costa, I'm not really looking at what he is doing right now. It's how are we moving forward?
Okay.
How are we going to reduce the costs to the families? How are we going to create more jobs and opportunities? And how are we going to provide the energy and the tools necessary to power the future economy? I'm looking forward, based on my experiences delivering these things over the last 40 years in business and in government.
You talk about energy, so let's talk about this. It's a big issue. PG&E over here is breaking everybody's back. A lot of people I talk to, they are saying like it's like paying two mortgages now. The bills are so high. What is that you can do if you are elected for these people, for your constituents?
I love talking about energy because I actually ran an industrial electrical contracting company and did work all throughout this state. One of the things that we can do immediately to reduce these costs is actually provide more supply to the market. And how do we do that? You're hearing now talk about nuclear facilities getting turned back on, or in Diablo, that extending its lifespan. I actually operated nuclear power plants. I did nuclear engineering and operated nuclear reactors in the U.S. Navy. That is a technology that not only can provide electricity, but has such an abundance of electricity, we can use that power to do desalination and create water for our valley, so we can solve our water problems, we can solve our electricity problems, and we should start producing electricity. Instead of paying $1,000 a month, you should be paying $200 a month. A big problem, and anyone who's done any work in their home, adding an outlet, doing any type of electrical work, they know if you have to make electricity go for a very long distance with copper, you have to get a bigger wire, and it costs a lot more.
It does.
Why are we not doing energy local? Why are we not pursuing things that benefit ag and our environment? That's why I've been involved in hydrogen for a very long time. Hydrogen technology can keep our entire Class 8, all our diesel trucks that are on the road, keep them operating. You can have hydrogen injected into that, gives them more power, decreases all of their environmental negatives, or you can use hydrogen to power electric trucks with fuel cells, and you don't need those big, heavy, costly batteries.
So you're talking about now there are now few initiatives going towards that hydrogen technology. How do you see the future of it? Like California is saying, governor has said that by 2035 we want zero emission vehicles everywhere. Do you think it's achievable right now?
I think it's achievable if you have people like myself in office who have the experience and have been doing this in the private sector and can actually have conversations about the technology. It's very difficult when you have people like Jim Costa in office who does not have any educational or technical background in these matters. And so how can he really talk about the proper implementation, the different types of doing nuclear power, from small modular reactors to large reactors, from pressurized water reactors to sodium reactors. How can he even speak about that when he doesn't have any technical experience? How can you talk about the different types of energy for powering the future of transportation unless you have experience? There is so much waste in the federal government. They give billions of dollars to technology that their friends started that never actually produce anything for the people. And so I truly believe this time where we are right now, there's people like myself across the country saying, we're going to get involved, we're going to fix it, and we're going to build a future because I can't afford these crazy electrical bills. I can't afford these crazy costs in healthcare. How am I going to continue to feed my family and make sure my kids have a future unless I get involved?
So, if you're elected, you said that you can talk about it. So, you have a prior experience of hydrogen technology as well?
I do. I've worked with multiple companies, and I actually have an aviation business and also business in hydrogen technology. Uh,
So, federal government is kind of pushing hydrogen technology. They have been giving grants to different states to put that infrastructure in. So, where do you see if you are elected, how does California will fare under you?
I think California will fare well, very well. I think our Central Valley, and not only just California, but nationally, all of these experiences. I'm talking to states in Missouri. I'm talking to states back east with this technology. It's actually a technology created by an incredible actual Sikh family out of Canada. And they have a really amazing technology. I was in Germany. I went to Austria. I've been in
You're talking about hydrogen?
hydrogen. I've been all over the world looking at all different types of technology. This technology works. It actually can deliver now. It's at airports. It is the future for our hydrogen economy for fuel.
So, do you think this electric vehicles or electric everything electrifying is that being pushed in everybody's throats? Is that viable then?
It's not viable, especially for anyone who drives a truck. You know, if I have to drive a Class 8 diesel truck and I'm supposed to be taking every pound that I lose is lost profit to me. So my fuel costs have gone up and I get to carry less product. 10,000 additional pounds in batteries. And because we have government officials who don't understand, well, we'll just increase the requirements. Now you can carry an additional, instead of 80,000, carry 90,000. What is that going to do? It's going to destroy our roads. It's going to wear out brakes faster. It's going to wear out tires faster. And that is not the solution. The solution is we cannot use heavy battery trucks that only have a few 100-mile range to do Class 8 transportation. We can continue to use the existing diesel trucks by injecting hydrogen into the fuel, or we can use hydrogen fuel cell vehicles that are already out and produced and work well, that can maintain those ranges, and you're not having to have additional weight. And those are electric trucks that are using hydrogen to produce electricity to power those motors.
Okay.
Very simple.
So, Michael, if you can tell, energy, grocery prices, everything is very, as or at this time, unaffordable, I could say. So, what are your vision for that? How can you make things affordable for people?
Well, this is how our economy works, and this is how our relationships work. Why does everything increase? If you increase the cost of energy, who pays that? The grocery store has to pay a higher electricity bill. They have to make up for it by charging more. The consumer, the people at home, their electricity bill goes up, which means they don't even have enough money to buy the same groceries that they used to buy. The transportation, where we are here in the Central Valley, my wife's family's been in farming for many generations. A lot of families here. You pick a peach or a plum or a nectarine from a tree, it gets put in a bin, and then it has to be driven to a packing facility or storage. There's trucking and there's costs associated with that. From those facilities to the ports to ship overseas or to the grocery stores, you increase the cost of transportation, the price of the fruit goes up. Electricity has gone up. All of those things mean me and you and our families are paying more every day, and it's not sustainable. And there has to be somebody who brings solutions like I'm talking about. Bring nuclear power back. You can do it safely, you can do it effectively, and you can do it for far less money than what we're paying right now.
But when we talk about nuclear, then Chernobyl comes up, Fukushima comes up, Three Mile Island comes up. So there are disasters which are associated with nuclear energy. How do you tell people that it's really safe?
I think the simplest way, and it's good that we bring up these disasters, and every time we've learned, almost all of these are associated with early generation nuclear technology. I remind people, every single submarine in the entire U.S. Navy has a nuclear reactor on it.
Exactly.
Every aircraft carrier has 2 nuclear reactors on it and 6,000 people living there. So you have 6,000 people living on a little postage stamp in the ocean right next to this, and they're getting less exposure. If you have people like myself who are trained to operate reactors and reactors that have redundancies and safety measures, you can put a nuclear reactor in a combat vessel that goes off in the ocean and fights wars.
But can one person really change things in Washington, D.C. like this? Can they change? Can they sway this idea for all the other more than 400 other elected officials over there?
Absolutely, I think you can, and I think we can, especially here in the Central Valley. Here in California, this Central Valley is going to be the rebirth of the state of California, the greatest, and it will be the greatest economy in the world. Where we are and winning this election, and what I'm talking about common sense. I'm not talking about Republican or Democrat. I'm talking about I have a solution, and it's not my solution. I didn't create this. I have a solution on true, tried, tested technologies that need to be out there. It's just common sense. We can get electricity cleaner than any other form, whether it be wind, solar. Nuclear is the cleanest carbon negative energy that you can produce and the safest. Far safer than wind energy that kills birds or solar technology that also sends tons of heat back into the atmosphere and pollutes the dirt underneath us. And it's produced in China with all of these batteries on coal-fired plants that are putting tremendous amount of noxious gases into our atmosphere. We can do this. It's common sense. Nuclear power works. That's why they're turning Diablo back on. We can do hydrogen, but we cannot make our truckers and business people say, you now have to pay for a $400,000 truck when it only costs $150,000 for a really good operating diesel truck. That's why the only solution is direct injection hydrogen into existing diesel trucks and supporting and providing incentives, money, to all these industries to allow a sensible new type of electrically motivated economy.
Michael, you told earlier you were talking about your like wife's side family has been in agriculture for a pretty long time. So you earlier told the water has been decreasing every year for Central Valley. I think sometimes last year or this year, federal said this is the only set amount we're going to give it to you. What is your solution for the farmers in the valley?
My solution for the farmers is we can actually create water. And one way that you do that is talking about energy. So if we speak on using water, and we need water for all the people that are living here, we need it for agriculture also, because people have to eat. How do we do that? We need to increase storage. We also need to be able to make it. We can make, the nation of Israel produces, they turned a desert into a fertile farmland. They're exporting water to Jordan and to the surrounding, even down to Egypt. All of these, the surrounding regions, they are exporting water. They're taking the ocean, running it through desalination, and they're selling it. Why are we not doing that here in the Central Valley? We can do that at the coast. We can produce clean water.
But a lot of our water goes to LA, to the Orange County.
Yes.
Well, like basically going over the agricultural land where there is no water.
And it goes out to the ocean. We allow a lot of our water to go right down the delta and then right out in the ocean. We can start capturing, protecting our environment. We can also deal with proper forest management. All of the overgrowth in the forest.
Wildfires.
Fires are created.
Hmm.
Additionally, what do trees need? They need water, just like we do. If you manage your forest, that water is going to go back down into the watershed,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to help us all if we actually allow proper forest management. That also is going to prevent wildfires. It's going to prevent the destruction of our electrical transmission lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting back to common sense governance and letting people live their lives, worship how they choose, and be able to provide a future and a better future for their kids.
So we all know California, in California right now, talking to a new subject right now, crime is a big problem. Smash and grabs, criminals being let out. Uh, what is that you can do to change that? It's I know you if you elected, you are in federal government. How you can sway the state government change the policies over here?
So you can change the state policies, but also I was, as I said, in the military. I was also a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI special agent in the Department of Justice. So you are still doing criminal activity investigations, national security investigations, and how you can stop. A lot of the things that we have are tied to organized crime, to cartels.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they doing? They're exploiting the most vulnerable of our population.
Mm.
The people who are farm workers, the people who are newly coming to this country are being exploited and then preying on those communities. And having and urging the federal government and federal law enforcement to start cracking down is going to unburden a significant amount of resources and funding that can go back into our community. Also, I'm able to speak as a citizen
Mm-hmm.
and a member of this community and a person who pays state taxes, not just in business but also personally. California, fix yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Newsom's out. There's going to be a new governor race. And a lot of these issues that we're talking about in this 2024 election, especially when we win this seat,
Mm-hmm.
are going to be issues that the next governor is going to have to campaign on and address. And they're going to have to address it because we're talking about it right now.
Okay. Uh, Today's the day when we are talking. 2 years ago, a Merced Sikh family who
Yes.
was kidnapped and brutally murdered. Jesus Salgado, his brother Alberto Salgado, he was recently given a slap on the wrist, I would say, maybe 3 years of prison time, and he's already out. What do you want to say to those people, to that family?
I want to say that justice was not served. It is unjust to allow people who commit horrific acts and let them back into the community. That's why we have such a high rates of recidivism, people returning to these crimes. Why are we allowing individuals who create violent acts to continue to have access to the people that they can victimize again? It's unconscionable when people say, "I am going to allow the criminals to be able to leave because I'm being kind." And it's a sense of, if we allow all of these people who, due to circumstances not into their background, but because of the hard ticket that they've gotten in life, they need to be able to be let free and back into the streets. All that is doing is providing an avenue to return to drug use, to return to irresponsible behavior. And we're not actually helping our own citizens, and we're not even helping those people who are criminals. Re-educating, training, giving them an opportunity for a new future. You let them out and they go back to do the same thing. And you re-victimize so many families who have had horrible things happen to them by letting them out early. Why would I continue? People have had enough. I've had enough, and it's unacceptable.
Also, at the same time, being from Sikh community, there is transnational repression talk we've been talking about. India, Indian government, Indian state, through its cronies, been trying to intimidate Sikhs over here who are Sikh activists, who are speaking against the unjust practices of Indian state. Right now, there is a bill about to be placed in, I think, the House over there. Uh, will you support that transnational repression bill?
I absolutely support, uh, and not just for the Sikh community. When I was in the FBI, Chinese government would send agents, just like India, would send agents to oppress and subvert and even take them back to their country. And this is happening. Look at what is not going on in India with the Punjabi community, but look at also in Armenia, what is going on with between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Look at what's going on around the world. Human rights violations are on a absolute rocket ship in the uptick. And you need the United States to have strong leadership and leadership that has the experience to say, this is wrong, this is not just, and we will not tolerate it. And we should have bills exactly like that, supported and really expanded to recognize we can join hand in hand here in the United States, regardless of what community you are. You should be able to be protected 100% if you're in this country. If you're just visiting, regardless of your status, you're in the United States will protect you. And that is, I've spoken about this so much, and it's something that absolutely has to be done.
Recently, another report came in Sacramento Bee yesterday. Uh, there's an organization, some association, Hindus for America or something. They've been putting blame on Sikh temple. You've been to Sikh gurdwaras many
Yes.
times, I assume. I've seen you there too. They're saying that the gurdwaras, the place of worship of Sikhs, are places of weapon, terrorism, and drug. What do you have to say to that kind of organization who has been malgaining Sikh temple's name?
Yeah, you cannot malign any faith community. And that's one of the things that I've really loved about this time running for office is I've gone to the mandir, I've gone to gurdwara, I've gone to mosque, I've gone to church, I've gone to temple. Why? When people speak like that, that's ignorance. And how do we fight ignorance? With education and engaging in all of these communities and saying, because there's a lot, and there's plenty of people of the Hindu faith that would stand arm in arm in defense of the Sikh faith and the community. But there's ignorant people on all sides of issues. And when ignorance is spoken, we have to rebuke it, we have to stop it, and we also have to have the ability to join arm in arm between all of our faith communities and say, that doesn't work. Especially in the United States of America, it's the number one First Amendment right, the freedom of religion, to freely exercise that. So it doesn't matter what faith community you're from. I'm a Christian, I'm very open on my faith. I will stand arm in arm with every member of any faith because that is our right and that is what I'm running on as a representative. And so there's no place for that kind of hate. There's no kind of place for that in any political party or in any religious community.
So, what are the other issues you see for the Central Valley right now? Homelessness is one of the big issues. If you're elected, what are your solution? What do you get to the plate?
I look at homelessness, and we have a lot of homeless veterans that I served in the military. There's a lot of people who are not receiving the mental health support that they need. A lot of this is self-medication that has gotten out of control, or families that don't know how to deal with mental health issues, and that person removes themselves from the family and is looking for relief through drugs on the streets. That doesn't mean that we just let them out there. That doesn't mean we just give them free drugs.
They need help.
They need help. And there needs to be, and there was, before Prop 47 happened, when you were arrested, you would get all kinds of drug treatment in prison. You'd go through, given the opportunity for drug counseling and support, and that's why, since that has happened, we've seen an explosion in homelessness. As well, we give so many benefits through so many different agencies instead of having one clean pipeline to deal with these issues. And when our economy starts doing better, a lot of these issues are alleviated. And so if I can reduce your bills and give you the ability to make more money and provide the right incentives, so each family here has more money in their pocket, They're not worried about where they're going to get their next paycheck or how they're going to pay for their fuel, how they're going to pay for their kids' education, just the quality of life. You're free of that. You're able to give back into your community. It's seva. It is
Yeah.
how are we providing service to our fellow, you know, our fellow man. That's how we deal with this. Common sense
Excuse me.
direction and common sense business.
Uh, so Michael Mayer, I know you tried for this seat before too. How is it different from last time running?
Well, again, I'm running against a guy. He's been in politics over 50 years, over the last 6 decades, from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s.
20s.
All of those years, and since he's been in Congress, he's only passed 2 bills that have gone into law: a post office getting renamed and a stamp.
Mm.
But you have a name that everyone knows. I thought he did a lot more for our valley. I thought in Congress he did stuff with water, and not until I ran did I realize he hasn't done any of that. He's very good at talking about it, but he's not good at delivering. And so why am I going to win this election? And why? Because I ran. Was able to get my name out there, and we've only continued to build more and more support and more momentum, saying it's time for change. It's a new face. It's a person who has real experience, who's fighting for our entire community, for the people over really politics. And that's the difference in this election. He's tired. I think he should just retire. A lot of people, his own family said I think it's time for him to retire.
You challenged him for a debate. Did he respond to it?
He refused the first go around to show up for a debate, and we did do a debate amongst the veteran community,
Okay.
and that was a great debate. Fortunately, I received the votes afterwards. The audience voted for me as the winner, as well as the one who would receive the endorsement of the veteran community, and we should hopefully still have another debate if he's willing to show up later this month in Fresno.
With almost a month left, what are your plans for this campaign now?
My plan is to continue what I've been doing. I want to be consistent all the way through, not just campaign like he doesn't talk about issues and then disappear until election time. We're going to continue to do media interviews, engage in communities, take part in festivities, as well as raise money and continue to run our advertising so people know they have a choice this election. They have a choice in my race and me, Michael Maher, as a guy who's going to really fix things. I've done that my entire life. You can look at a record of fixing things and let people know there is a brighter future ahead with me in office.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Michael, as we are talking, let's come to the next topic: immigration. This time around, immigration is a big issue. Even in presidential election, I'm hoping in your election as well. So what is your policy? What is your stand on that immigration right now?
Actually, I developed something called, I call it the Federal Light Card. And LIGHT stands for Legal Identification for Global Human Transit. And what we have really in our community here in the Central Valley is a lot of people that live in the shadows that don't have legal status. There's guys who are DACA recipients of my generation, kids I went to school with, who I'm finding are still fighting for status.
True.
Where the Republican Party and the Democrat Party continue to fight about this issue, technology has advanced so much. Why do we need to do the vetting and why do we need to do all of those things? It used to be interviews because we didn't have computer technology. Government itself needs to be brought up to the current times of the technology that we have. So the light card, the federal light card that I've proposed, and I write about it on my website, which you can go to michaelmaher.com. If you've ever traveled through the airport and you see global entry or TSA pre-check or clear, you can get those cards. How? clear. You walk up to a little terminal, and it takes a picture of your face. You can do fingerprints. If it doesn't recognize your face, you can show your documents, and it allows you to come in. You're now trusted. I think it's insane to think that we're going to go round up people here. This is what this talked about. You can't round people. It's wildly impossible, crazy expensive, and I won't stand for it, and a lot of other people won't stand for that. But what you can do is create a system that every person here voluntarily wants to go in and tell people their status. So if you have a terminals at every sheriff substation, and why sheriff substations? Because the U.S. Constitution talks about the sheriff, and you should feel safe to go into a sheriff substation and be able to apply for this and not have anyone else in between, somebody else who wants to collect a fee or harbor you. If you're a victim of human trafficking, you can go in, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, all of these things. The people here, they walk right in, they go fill out their application, and immediately, it'll say, my name is Tim from Venezuela. I'm Tim from Venezuela. Here's my true information, my true age, all of that. And a card will be printed, and it'll say citizen of Venezuela, but it will be a U.S. federal light card, federal ID. Now we really know what? We know all the information about him, biometrics. Now he has the ability to have legal status. He's already here working, so he can go back and get that same job, or he can go and get another job. Or he can choose to, now he has the ability, I'm going to go travel back home, and I'm going to come back and forth. And that puts real money into the economy that we've recognized him. And so that's a very simple solution that we can do
Do you think
today.
this is a pathway to a green card or a citizenship for them as well?
Absolutely. So I think I want to bring everything together into one application process. There's always the challenge.
Is this amnesty or not?
No, it's not amnesty. It's recognition and providing a legal identification for the people that are here.
Who are working here?
And so if you come in and you fill this out, you'll have now an ID card, and it'll show your true status. I'm a citizen of Venezuela, my information, your full light card, and with what we can do with Rosetta Stone or Babbel or all these other platforms to teach language, you'll get an account information, an application, and you can start your light card application even before you walk in. You can get online, create your account, put all your information in, show up, get your photos and everything taken. You'll leave with a card, and that application for U.S. citizenship will be submitted. And it will get in line with everyone else. And as long as you don't murder somebody, commit some heinous act, you're able to have time spent in the system.
You can proceed through it.
And you proceed to citizenship. And
what kind of traction you're getting with this idea, with this thing?
I've talked to lawyers back in D.C. On both sides. I've talked to farm labor groups. Everyone I've spoken to, some people I thought they would say no. Everyone says, wow, that works. That makes sense. Because you have to create a way that the people will voluntarily show up and provide the truthful information. And it's kind of a starting point. I don't blame, and I think most people with common sense don't blame anyone from South America or Haiti or anywhere in the world trying to come to the United States. And if by hook or by crook they're coming here, they're trying to get a better life. It's not, though, for political asylum like some countries. A lot of it is for economic freedom and economic prosperity. And we have to stop giving tens of thousands of dollars. We give more benefits to political asylum seekers than our own military veterans. That has to stop. And this is a very simple way to allow it to stop. And as it's called, a light card for global human, you can start applying for this anywhere. And what will restrict people is the geolocation of where you apply for this. If you're in the United States, guess what? You're in the United States. Employers can go onto that light card site and say, I need an employee in this space. Great. I'm in some other nation, and I've applied for it, and I have that skill. You can get matched up, and that employer could sponsor you now, and they could say, I have a job. They could go through, if they don't speak a lick of English, On that website, there'll be English lessons. There'll be lessons on our Constitution, on the history of this country. They can become educated anywhere in the world and learn and then apply. And what that does is it allows a level of education, a level of access that is free, that is nowhere else in the world.
So will this, what your idea is this on top of all the immigration laws we have already?
It's not just on top, it's filling the gap. It's a missing piece that isn't here. We have the ability to apply for a green card. You have the ability to apply for citizenship. But there is a missing piece. And that's why the laws are not doing us any good, because they're either being ignored or they're too complicated or there's far too many bureaucracies to coordinate. In providing a federal light card, you're going to have a memorandum of understanding and a coordination between the State Department, between the Department of Justice, and local county sheriff's offices that provide a very simple, quick solution and a true ID for all people. And there's no fear in even getting this. Immediately you have it, and you walk out.
But they hear sometimes statements from different candidates. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Do you think with this idea, will they be less fearful of that?
Oh, I think everyone will be less fearful. I have not had anyone who, when they sit down and actually, it's a long topic because it covers so many different areas. Every time a teacher wants to become, if you want to apply to be a teacher, you have to go get a live scan. You want to drive and get a license in bonding, you go get a live scan. That's fine. It's basically doing all of that now right there in a card. And so you're able to run that information through CJIS, Criminal Justice Information System that DOJ has. And so if you find out, well, actually, that guy who just turned in his information is a validated gang member of Maher Salvatrucha. And he has all of this rap sheet. Guess what? Sorry, you're not going to be able to stay here. You are going to be removed because you have a history and current warrants out for your arrest. Just like any other guy who's a citizen who has a California state ID walks into a court or engages with law enforcement and they run his record and say, oh, you have warrants for your arrest. That will be dealt with. There's great people here, and we need to create a pathway for them to voluntarily show up, be recognized with legal status, and be able to return and live their lives. The technology is there to do this. And I can speak on this better than any other person because I was a special agent with the FBI, pulling and doing alien files, A files, and looking and understanding the pieces that connect. I've also had to deal with people who've been placed on the terrorist watch list. How do all of these things come together? How can we streamline them with today's technology and computers that can make our lives simpler instead of creating more bureaucracy or another agency that's going to come try to arrest people and violate all the rights that we have, like the Fourth Amendment. It's the only way to quickly, easily, and completely deal with this situation.
Earlier also, I think when we talked last time, Fresno is one of the biggest cities in America. What are your plans for Fresno to flourish as a business opportunity, or the business which are already currently here flourish more?
Yeah, so that's one, I appreciate you bringing it up. That's one of the things I talk about a lot is Fresno is the 33rd largest city in America. The city of Fresno is larger than Atlanta. It's larger than Kansas City.
It has more population than Wyoming, I know that.
Yeah, this city. And we are woefully underrepresented. People do not talk about that. Where we are here in the Central Valley for all sustainable fuels, this is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia for oil, Saudi Arabia for the future of the fuels that power the world, not only in how we manage our ag waste, but that can be used to create fuel. Our dairies create fuel. We can be an energy hub. Also, if we want to advance with the rest of the world, we need to be building AI-driven data centers, which take a tremendous amount of energy. And so we can be the model for the future of energy, the future of data centers, the future of how we bring technology right to the fingertips of California here in the Valley. And you need somebody who's engaged, who has the ability to really discuss and be involved actively in all of these areas. And I've been doing that for definitely the last 20 years, if not more. That is how we bring and put the fifth largest economy in the world, the state of California, to become maybe the third largest economy of the world, and how we take the fifth largest city in the state, which is Fresno, and rocketed it up by bringing in the future. Instead of looking to the past and blaming people or saying that person's bad, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what's the future for my kids? What's the future for my neighbors? Are they making more money? Do they have opportunities? Are we giving them education? Are we helping their business? I want to build a future with more money, more opportunities, and lower costs here. And I'm putting a lot on hold to make sure that I'm developing this for our entire valley.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Michael. In the end, what do you want to say? Like, what are your last pitch to the voters over here? Listening?
Yeah, my last pitch to the voters is for anyone watching that can see this. I'm Michael Maher. I'm here for you. I'm here for me, for our entire community and our kids. A lot of people are not able to think about the future because they're dealing with the hard times that we're in right now because of ineffective lifetime politicians. I'm already in my 40s. I have no ability to become a lifetime politician, but I do have the ability to represent you and the people all around the world with common sense. And so it's time for change. It's time for a new generation. And I hope to be a blessing, a divine blessing to this valley and this world.
Thank you, Michael. Good luck.
Thank you.